Hello everyone, this is Professor Jungwon Kim from the Department of Beauty Arts at Yongsan University. Today, let's take a closer look at the basic structure of hair, a fundamental topic in scalp and hair science. Hair is composed of three main layers, the cuticle, cortex, and medulla. The cuticle is the outermost layer. Think of it as the hair's protective shield. It's made of overlapping cells, much like roof shingles, and its condition greatly affects the hair's shine and smoothness. Beneath the cuticle lies the cortex. This layer contains melanin, the pigment that determines our hair color. It also holds the hair's strength and elasticity. Most of the chemical processes, such as coloring and perming, target this layer. At the center is the medulla, which is often absent in fine hair. It plays a lesser-known role, but can help with the hair's overall structure and insulation in thicker strands. Understanding these layers is essential for effective hair care and professional treatment. Whether you're analyzing hair health, applying chemical services, or recommending products to clients, your knowledge of these layers will guide your expertise as a beauty professional. Let's continue exploring the science behind beauty, because true artistry begins with understanding. When examining the cross-section of hair, we identify three primary layers: the cuticle, cortex, and medulla. The cuticle is the outermost layer. It consists of overlapping cells that resemble roof shingles, providing a protective barrier to the inner layers. A smooth and intact cuticle layer reflects light, resulting in healthy shine and resilience. When the cuticle is damaged due to heat, chemicals, or friction, the hair becomes porous, dull, and more prone to breakage. Beneath the cuticle lies the cortex, which is the thickest and most significant structural layer. It is rich in keratin and contains melanin, the pigment responsible for hair color. The cortex largely determines the hair's strength, elasticity, and texture. Most chemical treatments, such as coloring, perming, or relaxing, target this layer, making it essential to understand its composition and function when performing technical services. At the core is the medulla, the innermost layer which may be absent in fine or naturally thin hair. Although the medulla's function is not as well defined as the other two layers, it contributes to the overall structure and volume of the hair strand. Understanding the composition and function of these three layers is fundamental for professionals. It enables accurate diagnosis of hair condition, appropriate treatment selection, and safe service execution. Without this foundational knowledge, advanced techniques such as hair coloring, perming, or intensive repair treatments cannot be effectively or safely applied. Let's now examine how these structural characteristics influence the hair's response to physical and chemical stimuli. Now let's take a closer look at the structural composition of hair, which plays a critical role in both its appearance and function. Hair is composed of three main layers: the cuticle, cortex, and medulla. The cuticle is the outermost layer. It consists of overlapping transparent cells that lie like shingles on a roof. Its primary role is to protect the inner layers from physical and chemical damage. When the cuticle is healthy and intact, it reflects light well, contributing to smoothness and shine. However, damage to the cuticle caused by overbrushing, heat styling, or harsh chemicals can lead to dryness, frizz, and breakage. Beneath the cuticle is the cortex, which is rich in keratin and contains melanin pigments. This layer determines the strength, elasticity, and color of the hair. It is also the primary target for most chemical treatments, such as dyeing or perming, making it a crucial layer in both styling and treatment procedures. At the core of the hair strand lies the medulla. This layer is often absent in fine or naturally thin hair, and its function is still being studied. However, it contributes to the overall structure and volume in thicker hair types. Understanding these layers and their individual roles allows us to make more informed decisions when diagnosing hair conditions, recommending treatments, or performing services. Each layer interacts with external factors differently, and damage at any level affects the overall health and appearance of the hair. In addition to the internal layers of the hair strand itself, we must also consider the surrounding anatomical structures that play a critical role in supporting hair health and function. Surrounding each hair follicle are sebaceous glands, which secrete sebum, an oily substance that helps to moisturize the hair and scalp, preventing dryness and brittleness. This natural oil also forms part of the scalp's protective barrier, contributing to a healthy scalp environment. We also find sweat glands in the scalp. These glands assist in thermoregulation, helping the body maintain a stable internal temperature by releasing sweat during heat or exertion. Another important structure is the erector pili muscle, a tiny muscle attached to each hair follicle. When the body is exposed to cold or emotional stimuli such as fear, these muscles contract, causing the hair to stand upright, a phenomenon known as goosebumps. While this reaction is more functional in animals for insulation or intimidation, in humans, it's mostly a vestigial reflex. Lastly, nerve endings and capillaries are densely distributed around the follicle. These supply nutrients and oxygen, while also providing sensory feedback, allowing us to detect touch, pressure, or irritation on the scalp. Understanding these external supporting structures is just as important as knowing the layers of the hair itself, because healthy hair cannot exist without a healthy scalp environment. As beauty professionals, this knowledge equips us to approach scalp and hair care more holistically. Now let's focus on the hair root, which is embedded within the hair follicle. This part of the hair structure is crucial for hair growth because it anchors the hair into the scalp and serves as the active site of cellular proliferation, where new hair cells are continuously produced. As these cells multiply, they undergo a process of keratinization, eventually forming the visible hair shaft that emerges above the scalp. Therefore, maintaining the health of the hair root is fundamental to achieving strong, vibrant hair. Surrounding the hair root are several important supportive structures, including sebaceous glands, which provide moisture and a protective lipid barrier. Sweat glands, which aid in detoxification and temperature regulation. Erector pili muscles, which react to cold or emotional stimuli, and a dense network of nerves and capillaries, which deliver nutrients and oxygen directly to the follicular cells. These combined components form a microenvironment that supports both hair production and scalp balance. Any disruption in this environment, whether due to poor hygiene, hormonal imbalance, or nutrient deficiency, can negatively affect the hair growth cycle. So in scalp and hair care, we are not just treating the surface. We are addressing an interconnected system that works from the root outward. As professionals, understanding this internal anatomy helps us provide more targeted and effective treatments for various scalp and hair concerns. Building on what we've discussed about the hair root and surrounding structures, let's now explore the hair follicle, which is considered the fundamental unit of hair production. The hair follicle is a tubular structure that extends from the epidermis through the dermis and down into the subcutaneous tissue. Within this follicle, active cell division occurs, particularly in the hair matrix, producing new hair cells. These cells undergo keratinization as they move upward, forming the hair shaft. In addition to producing hair, the follicle plays a vital role in nutrient absorption, receiving oxygen and essential nutrients via surrounding capillaries to support the growth cycle. The shape of the follicle determines the type of hair. Round follicles produce straight hair, oval follicles lead to wavy hair, and flattened follicles create curly hair. It's important to understand that damage to the follicle, whether through inflammation, infection, or trauma, can disrupt this cycle and even lead to permanent hair loss, especially if the follicle is destroyed or scarred. On average, the human scalp contains approximately 100,000 hair follicles, each working independently through various growth phases: anagen, growth; catagen, transition; and telogen, resting. Maintaining follicle health is essential to sustaining a balanced hair cycle and preventing conditions such as thinning or alopecia. Therefore, in scalp and hair therapy, our focus must include not just surface treatments, but also deep follicular support to ensure lasting results. Now, let's take a closer look at the structure of the hair follicle itself. The hair follicle is composed of two main parts: an epithelial portion, which originates from the epidermis, and a connective tissue portion, which is derived from the dermis. Within the epithelial portion, we find the inner and outer root sheaths. These sheaths act as a protective barrier surrounding the developing hair shaft. Focusing on the inner root sheath, it is made up of three distinct layers: the cuticle of the inner root sheath, which interlocks with the hair cuticle to anchor the growing hair; the Huxley layer, composed of flattened epithelial cells providing mechanical support; and the Henle layer, the outermost layer of the inner root sheath, which aids in guiding and aligning the growing hair. Together, these layers protect the hair shaft during its formation and support the keratinization process, ensuring the development of strong, healthy hair. This microscopic organization is essential for both hair integrity and the smooth progression of the hair growth cycle. A disruption in any of these layers can affect the quality and strength of the hair fiber. Understanding this complex follicular architecture helps us better grasp how hair-related treatments, from nourishing scalp products to professional therapies, must consider both surface care and deeper follicular health. Continuing from the inner structure of the follicle, let's now explore the outer root sheath and the connective tissue portion in more detail. The outer root sheath surrounds the inner root sheath, extending upward and gradually fading near the sebaceous gland level. This sheath not only offers mechanical support, but also plays a role in forming a protective barrier around the developing hair shaft. Next, we move to the connective tissue portion of the follicle. This structure envelops the dermal papilla, which sits at the base of the follicle. The dermal papilla is a critical region. It contains blood vessels and signaling molecules essential for regulating hair growth cycles, including the transition between anagen, growth, catagen, regression, and telogen, resting phases. This entire arrangement, where the outer root sheath and connective tissue sheath meet at the base and form a structural interface with the dermis, reflects the complex architecture of the follicle. It's not just a passive tube. It's a dynamic structure that interacts with the skin environment, responds to hormonal and nutritional signals, and adapts to internal and external conditions. Understanding this structural complexity helps us recognize why hair loss treatments, scalp therapies, and even nutritional interventions must address not only surface-level issues, but also these deeper anatomical layers of the follicle. Now let's focus on the infundibulum, an important upper portion of the hair follicle. The infundibulum extends from the stratum corneum of the epidermis down to the upper part of the sebaceous gland, where the outer root sheath begins keratinization. This region serves as the transitional zone between the skin surface and the follicular structure. Because it is directly connected to the epidermis, the infundibulum displays characteristics of skin keratinization. This means that keratinocytes here undergo a similar process as in the outer skin layers, gradually hardening and forming a barrier. However, this area is also susceptible to dysfunction. One common issue is hyperkeratosis, a condition where excessive keratin accumulates in the infundibulum. This is often triggered by androgens, male hormones, or stress, both of which can accelerate skin cell turnover. As a result, keratin debris may block the follicular opening, leading to clogged pores. When this happens, it creates a favorable environment for inflammation or acne, especially in sebaceous gland-rich areas like the scalp or face. Therefore, understanding the role of the infundibulum is essential in treating follicular disorders, acne, or even in improving scalp cleansing strategies. In scalp and hair care, keeping the infundibulum clean and well-functioning is just as important as nourishing the deeper layers of the follicle. Continuing from the infundibulum, we now move into the next important region of the hair follicle, the isthmus. The hair follicle is composed of distinct functional zones, each playing a critical role in hair health and structure. At the top, as we discussed, the infundibulum connects to the epidermis, where keratinization begins. Just beneath that lies the isthmus, a short but significant section that is vital for hair maturation. In the isthmus, the hair shaft undergoes essential changes. Dehydration, compaction, and the final phases of keratin hardening occur here. These changes ensure the hair is structurally stable before it exits the follicle. When the isthmus malfunctions, especially when it suffers from hyperkeratosis, excessive keratin can accumulate. This, combined with sebum and dead skin cells, may clog the follicle opening, causing inflammation or skin conditions such as folliculitis and acne. Understanding these microscopic regions of the follicle, like the infundibulum and isthmus, is not just a matter of anatomical knowledge. It's foundational for clinical scalp care, hair loss prevention, and effective cosmetic treatment strategies. Following the infundibulum, we arrive at the isthmus, which lies just below, extending down to the lower sebaceous gland. This region plays a key role in hair shaft maturation. Within the isthmus, germinal matrix cells begin to undergo three critical transformations: dehydration, compaction, and keratinization. These processes are essential in forming a stable, resilient hair shaft that can withstand environmental and mechanical stress. Just beneath this region lies the follicular bulge, an area of high biological significance. This bulge, located under the sebaceous gland, serves as a reservoir of stem cells. These cells are not only essential for hair follicle regeneration, but also contribute to the formation of new hair by interacting with the germinal matrix. A collaborative function of the isthmus and bulge demonstrates the sophisticated nature of the follicular structure. A deeper understanding of these zones offers critical insights into managing hair loss, improving scalp treatments, and advancing hair restoration techniques. Now let us focus on the germinal matrix cells, also known as the hair matrix. These cells surround the upper portion of the hair papilla, receiving essential nutrients and growth factors that drive hair production. Within this matrix, cells begin to differentiate based on their function. Some become keratinocytes, which are responsible for producing keratin, the primary protein in hair. Others develop into melanocytes, which produce melanin, determining the color of the hair. Depending on their position, certain matrix cells mature into the medulla, the innermost part of the hair. With rapid cell division, this region initiates the sequential development of the cuticle, cortex, and medulla as the hair shaft moves upward through the follicle. In essence, the germinal matrix serves as the foundation of hair formation, playing a vital role in both the structure and appearance of the hair. Next, we turn our attention to the hair papilla, a key structure located at the base of the hair bulb. This region plays a central role in hair growth. The papilla is surrounded by capillaries and innervated by the autonomic nervous system, both of which are essential for delivering nutrients and growth signals to the surrounding germinal matrix cells. Importantly, the size of the hair papilla is directly related to hair characteristics. Larger papilla are typically associated with thicker, coarser hair, while smaller ones correlate with finer hair strands. Thus, understanding the structure and function of the papilla helps explain differences in hair type and growth potential across individuals. Let's now look at the sebaceous glands, which are among the first structures to form during hair follicle development. These sac-like glands are positioned around the upper portion of the hair root and are found in abundant numbers throughout the body. Although present nearly everywhere, they are particularly concentrated on areas like the face, scalp, chest, and upper back, where sebum production is most active. On average, the human body secretes about 1 to 2 grams of sebum per day. This secretion is not constant, but varies depending on hormonal levels, stress, and even environmental conditions. Sebum plays a multifunctional role. It softens the skin, adds a natural shine to the hair, and most importantly, locks in moisture, helping to protect both the scalp and hair shaft from dryness and damage. Without proper sebum production, the scalp can become flaky, irritated, or even prone to infections. Understanding sebaceous gland function is key when studying scalp disorders, oily skin conditions, or hair care treatments that aim to balance oil levels. Sebum and sweat together form what is known as the acid mantle, a very important component of our skin and scalp barrier system. This thin film sits on the surface of the scalp and maintains a slightly acidic pH, typically ranging from 4.5 to 5.5. This acidity is not accidental. It plays a crucial role in defending the scalp from harmful microorganisms. Specifically, it acts as a natural disinfectant and antibacterial barrier, helping to inhibit the growth of bacteria, fungi, and other pathogens. However, if this balance is disrupted, for example, by excessive sebum production, poor hygiene, or product buildup, the protective effect can be compromised. When sebum is overproduced or not properly cleansed, it can mix with dead skin cells and pollutants, clogging the pores. Over time, this can lead to the oxidation of lipids, which then creates an environment conducive to bacterial overgrowth and inflammation. This process can result in scalp problems such as itchiness, dandruff, acne, or even folliculitis. Therefore, maintaining the integrity of the acid mantle through proper scalp care, including gentle cleansing and pH-balanced products, is essential for overall scalp and hair health. Sweat secretion on the scalp is affected by body temperature, blood circulation, aging, and psychological conditions. Analyzing sweat gland activity offers insights into moisture retention, blood flow, and bacterial environments. Under diagnostic observation, sweat glands appear on skin ridges, smaller and less distinct than pores, which are located in skin furrows. The erector pili muscle, located beneath the sebaceous gland, connects the epidermis to the hair bulb. Controlled by the autonomic nervous system, it contracts in response to cold or emotional changes, causing hair to stand upright and increasing sebum secretion. This process can accelerate hair aging and exacerbate scalp conditions due to frequent muscle activity. To wrap up today's lesson, let's briefly review what we've covered so far. We explored the structure and function of the hair follicle, including its key regions such as the infundibulum, isthmus, and inferior follicle. We discussed the roles of sebaceous glands, sweat glands, and the acid mantle in maintaining scalp health. You also learned how germinal matrix cells, capillaries, and autonomic nerves work together to support hair growth, nutrition, and regeneration. All these components interact intricately to ensure healthy hair and a balanced scalp environment. Thank you for your attention and participation. You've done a great job today. Keep up the curiosity and passion for learning. See you in the next class.